It's summer and school's letting out. We think it's time to pack up your supplies and head into the great outdoors. Whether you're an experienced camper looking for a checklist or you're living in the great outdoors for the first time, we've got a list of boredom-busting essentials that'll help you make sure your next camping trip is the best one yet. Stay tuned. First up, get some reading done. Anyone who loves books has fantasized about reading by a campfire. Why not make it a fantasy a reality? No matter what kind of book it is, reading by a fire makes it a special experience all on its own. You could bring a fiction favorite or a new book that you've been meaning to read, but here's an idea. Hunt down a book about the area you're going to and make your camping trip a learning experience. There are no bad ideas when it comes to books. If you're taking books with you, they'll take up space that you might need for supplies, but it's 2022. Kindles and other e-readers can last weeks on a single charge, and you can load them up with an entire library's worth of books before throwing them into your backpack. The e-ink displays on these tablets are surprisingly paper-like, so reading them by a campfire should be just as fun. Bonus tip, instead of just reading the books, narrate them out loud. Take turns every night to reenact these stories in front of the fire. Camping is all about unique experiences, and this is certainly something that you never do at home. Next, put a twist on watching movies and shows. Just like camping can offer you a chance to put a twist on reading, you can also try just watching movies and shows in cool new ways. There's no guarantee that you'll have a good enough connection to stream content, but most services let you download stuff for offline use. Or you could purchase movies from a service like Amazon Prime or Google Play Movies or TV. Load them all up on an external hard drive before hitting the road. For 2 or 3 people, a large tablet could suffice, but that's not a lot of fun. We would suggest going the projector route. Nail a screen to a tree, or use an easel like a normal person, and watch your content that way. Popcorn can be made pretty easily over a campfire too. A super impractical approach to this whole thing could be to lug a whole TV with you. You won't have to invest in a projector, but you will have to learn how to hook your TV up to your car battery. Shouldn't be too hard to do as long as you can make sure you're safe while you're doing it. Carrying a TV around is hard, and wiring can be a hassle, but you'll be rewarded with HD or 4K, depending on what TV you bring with you. Watching 4K content in the middle of the woods is a pretty radical mashup of technology and nature. Movie recommendations. If you really don't feel like getting any sleep on your trip, watch The Blair Witch Project or Evil Dead. For families, downloading the entire Pixar catalog is easily the way to go. Take your movie nights back to the basics on your next camping trip. You can't forget the game nights. You might not be home anymore, but what if we told you that you can still have a game night? Now, you could fire up a portable gaming device like a Nintendo Switch, but the whole point of camping is to get away from that stuff. We think you'd be better off bringing some card games. What's great about card games is that they tend to be small, so they're easy to pack and they're easy to play. You should be able to play most games on a picnic mat, and having a table will be better, even if it's a small one. The best games are addictive enough to make you play round after round, which should make for a really cozy night by the campfire. What games do you think we should bring? Well, a standard 52 card deck is the most obvious choice. Even if you don't know any games you could play with it, there are a lot of ones that you could really easily learn. There's also a classic Uno if you're going as a family or a group, and some really neat low player count games for couples and smaller groups too. You should really record the experience. Depending on where you're going, you might encounter animals and plants that you'll never get to see again. We think it's worth preserving those experiences in every way you can. Plus, you can show them to your friends later. It'll be quite the flex. Your phone will be good enough for a lot of this, but if you're trying to disconnect from your phone, there's other tools you can use. For not that much money, you can pick up a pretty great point-and-shoot camera and load it with a roomy SD card to snap photos and record videos of every single thing you see. Lots of cameras these days can make a connection to your phone, so you can just grab the best pics and throw them straight to the gram. The camera will have a mic, but consider investing in a dedicated recorder to capture the sounds of nature. The recorder will be able to get fantastic high-quality recordings of the sounds, and you can listen to them with your favorite headphones if you're ever at home and just want to be transported back to that wilderness. And for a real throwback, bring along a notebook and a pen to write things down. Describe things you're doing and seeing, and maybe even get meditative and write down your thoughts. All these are excellent ways to truly connect with nature in a way that you won't get to experience again until your next camping trip. It is a must to look for shooting stars, and other kinds of stars too. If you ever wanted to bathe in the stars, turn off the lights in your camp and lie down with your comfiest spread. All you gotta do is look up, and you will see an explosion of these heavenly objects you would never see between the tall buildings at home. You might even read up on the constellations beforehand and try to spot some of them in the sky. We think stargazing is pretty romantic, but it can be fun for the family to do too. We recommend you keep your phones firmly in your pockets for most of this video, but this is where today's phones can help you out. The crazy night modes on a lot of cameras allow you to do some pretty nifty astrophotography, but the real reason you want to use your phone is to fire up your astronomy apps. Google Classic Sky Map has been around forever, but there are others that tell you about the stars and cosmic objects in space where you point your camera. Pro tip, keep a laser pointer with you for this. Pointing at things in the sky with your finger is basically impossible, but a laser pointer will let you indicate things in the sky with perfect accuracy. Just make sure you're not pointing at any aircraft. If you're a real fan of astronomy, a telescope shouldn't take up too much space in your baggage. Try finding the stuff that the app says is out there and give Neil deGrasse Tyson a call if you see something new. Finally, putting an artistic touch on your trip. Getting something on tape is great, but why not use this trip as a venue to exercise your creative muscles? Pack some extra pens and another notebook or two and try your hand at creating art. Along with photography, you could try drawing or painting the landscapes around you. And if you've brought a journal with you, use your best flowery language to tell the whole story of the trip, as if you're shooting for the NYT bestseller list. It might turn out that you're not really good at it, in which case you'll be glad you gave it a shot. But wouldn't it be amazing if you discovered a talent you never knew you had? Think about it. A trip that isn't just about learning nature, but also about learning you. Photography itself is an art. Venture beyond matter-of-fact photos and try to craft a story through an image set. Remember, a single picture is worth 1,000 words. Your gram can do more than just show people your travels. It can broadcast your own statement about the world you visited, contrasting the world that you live in. Since the very first cave drawings, humans have been inspired by things around them. For those who have already got the artistic bones in their bodies, nature can provide inspiration like nothing else in the world. After all, we figured that the makers of the Blair Witch Project must have spent a lot of time in the woods to understand how terrifying they can be. But besides fear, living in nature can give you a window into the way our ancestors of millions of years ago used to live. Now that's a story we think's worth telling. That's all the camping advice we got for you today. So, do you like camping? What are your pro tips to avoid boredom on a trip? Let us know a little about your experiences in the comment section below, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe on this video. Oh, later.